Welcome to the Lifted Lifestyle Podcast. This is a call to action to live above limitations that try to disrupt your peace, steal your joy, and limit your access to your best life. I'm your favorite host, Latasha Weatherspoon. You can find me on all social media at Tasha Spoon and at The Lifted Lifestyle. I'm joined today by my favorite host, Mr. Chaz Bailey.
Hello, world. I'm Chaz Bailey, the CEO of Creative Opportunities. Happy to be with you today. And you can find me on Twitter at Chaz Bailey. And also, I made an IG today. So, growth.
Look at that. Chaz is
growth.
in the social media world.
So I'm on IG, Creative Opportunities. Ain't no pictures or nothing, but I ain't got no friends either. So that's where you come in.
You own it.
Yeah, that's where you guys come in. Jump on my page. I'm right there.
Well, go follow Mr. Bailey on Instagram. We've been trying to get him into the social media world for 3 years at least. So I'm glad to welcome.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Welcome. So today's show I'm extremely excited about. Of course, we're in the Find Your Tribe series as we approach the anniversary of publication of my best-selling book. It feels strange to say that, but it is my best-selling book.
Yeah.
Find Your Tribe and Break Bread. We have some awesome things in store for you today. We're going to talk about the concept of what you need to do to assemble your own tribe.
Okay.
Yes, but before we get started, what is your grateful moment for the day, Mr. Bailey?
My grateful moment, and I've said this maybe one or two times, but I'm going to do it in a different way. I'm grateful for the weather. It's a real deal spring day.
Yes.
Today in Houston. It's about, as they say in San Diego, balmy 75. It's feeling really good outside. So I'm enjoying that weather, enjoying the trees, not enjoying the pollen, but enjoying everything else that comes with it.
Yeah, I understand. For me, I think today I'm grateful for my matron of honor who has been running around. Shout out to Nikki Berry, my matron of honor. She's been running around all day finding things that I requested for my bridal shower. And I'm honored to have my bride tribe, come to my rescue and really be invested in the process of making this easy. I have no stress.
Well, that's always good.
Yeah, they're just absolutely. If I could take my bride tribe into every area of my life, it would be amazing. Like take them to work with me,
Well, that's what the show about, finding their tribe.
Right. So today I'm thankful for my bride tribe. My bridesmaids are absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
So we're going to get into our show today and we're going to talk about finding your tribe. What's the first thing that you need to do to find your tribe? What do you think is first, Chaz?
Find your tribe is something where we dove into over the past few weeks was finding yourself, because you have to know who you are and what you want to attract to assemble the perfect team.
Yeah.
And so thus your tribe is your team. So knowing who you are and what type of system you're looking to run, that lets you know what type of people you need to have around you to complete that tribe.
That's definitely first, as we've been talking about the last two shows, is defining yourself, really making peace with who you are at your core. But after you've made peace with who you are and you've kind of gotten a firm grasp on who you are and you're looking to align yourself with individuals that reflect your core values, the next thing I believe happens is you have to define the requirements and responsibilities of your tribe.
Okay.
What is friendship?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a member of my tribe? I think that, we set expectations in every other area of our lives except for the people that we spend the most time with.
Yeah, you're right. And I like the way you put that. You made the definition go towards you. And so when you say, what do you define friendship as? It may be different between me and you because my friendship requires something that yours may not, and vice versa. So I think that's a perfect place to start, is defining what friendship is for your particular tribe and understanding what friendship is. Because when you define it by social times, it may just say this is the person that I hang with the most and they're around me the most. And we put a time limit and time constraints on what a friend is, what an associate is, things like that. But sometimes your best friend can come within the last year of your life. And you don't realize that based on time. And
You know?
if you put it based on time, you may say, well, me and my friend from kindergarten, we've been knowing each other this long, been cool. That's my best friend because I've known him my whole life.
Definitely. And then to take it back a step further is to go even further than that and to say, as my friend, I expect you to. You know, I expect my friends to be loyal.
Oh, yeah.
I expect my friends to be honest. In my personal life, I expect my tribe to be open, where they hold me accountable to being my best self. You know, that they tell me the truth. Because a lot of people only want to be surrounded by yes people.
Oh, yeah.
They only want to be surrounded by people who tell them the good of who they are. I believe that my tribe has a responsibility to hold me to the highest standard by telling me the truth of who I am when I'm good, bad, ugly, or otherwise. But knowing those things, knowing what you expect from the people you surround yourself with really does do two things. One, it helps you to not be disappointed.
Oh,
because
yeah,
once you have a scale, once you have a bar of what I expect from the people around me, then you can begin to evaluate if the people around you are actually meeting that standard.
No, that's true.
And the second thing is it really gives you some clarity into looking into yourself and asking yourself, am I giving off all the things I'm expecting from the people around me? Because a lot of times we have these vast expectations from people in our lives, but we have to ask, are we really giving the people in our lives what we require of them?
Yeah, that space is very important to know what is required. But taking it back some, I think one of the key components you said was having accountability, holding you accountable for what, one, you say you were going to do, what you stand for, because sometimes as friends we get placed in situations where we're not optimal of being who we are, whether it's something that could potentially be negative or we may be giving off a negative energy. And a friend may say, hold on, no, this not you, don't worry about this, well, you're good, no, we're gonna leave, I know we're gonna leave. You know, that's a friend. Sometimes, you know, in the heat of a battle that life may bring, that friend holds you accountable. But then if you go a little further, sometimes in life when you sell yourself short, when you're not sure about something, let's say you're writing your new book, you know, you're writing a book and your friends around you, would I be considered a friend if I say, why you want to do that? Nobody reads anymore.
Come on.
Nobody wants to pay attention to that. But
come on,
your friend will turn around and say, I don't have nothing to do with being an author. I don't know how to write a book, but guess what? Whatever you need, I'm here. We need to go to Kinko's. What we need to do to make it happen.
That brings, but that like brings us into our next topic, where it's like surveying the people that are around you and being honest about them, because some of us do have some friends that will minimize us. We do have some friends that won't celebrate us and cheer us on.
Yeah.
You know, so that's true too, you know, but once you have those expectations down and you know what your definition of a friend is, it gets easy to say, you know what? I don't know if this person meets the standard. You know, it's the same way, the same reason why you have to define yourself, because if you don't know who you are, people will tell you who you are. But if you don't know who your friends are, then people will just run amok in your life.
Yeah, and then they'll put those same people that's telling you who you are, tell you who to be around and who to allow around you. When at the end of the day, if you allow that to happen, when you look up, you'll realize that every one of these people around me don't have my best interest in mind, and I'm always nowhere near to be the line leader. I'm always at the tail.
But and moreover, you know, if you don't give people standards or expectations, then people will just give you the best of who they are.
Oh yeah.
Or the worst of who they are. They just gonna give you what they got.
Or worse, be neutral.
Or worse, you know, they're just gonna be like, you know what, today I'm gonna be this way, tomorrow I'll be that way.
Exactly.
But when you have expectations from the people that are around you, I think people fall in line.
Oh,
you know, definitely. And sometimes your expectations will actually make a person a better person.
Oh, of course.
Because if they truly want to be your friend, if the relationship is truly important to them, they're going to do the work to be like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't transparent when I didn't tell her how that skirt fit and I let her go out looking like that. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Or more importantly, you know, maybe I wasn't doing the work to bring reconciliation when you hit a rough patch in your friendship.
Yeah, definitely. Because I always go back to my childhood when I describe friendship, and you hardly see that nowadays, is when you'll be with your friends back then and you'll get into it and be mad and potentially even have a little fight or scuffle or something like that. But guess what? You go home the next day, you're right back out there playing again. Like nothing ever happened because that's your friend. You understood what went on. And sometimes, even though, let's say it was my fault, my friend would apologize to me and say, I'm sorry about yesterday. And then even though I was just trying to act like it never happened, I say, you know what, I'm sorry too. But we still friends. Of course.
But you know, there's a lesson in that, because as children, we're a lot more resilient than we are as adults.
That's true.
You know, as children, we let a lot more stuff roll off of our backs than we do as adults. You know, now I've seen friendships crumble over petty stuff because somebody was not big enough to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely.
Was not big enough to put your pride aside and say, you know what, I was wrong when I did X, Y, and Z. And I think that as adults, we need to look at how children operate, because I've seen that happen. You know,
it's pure.
They just can we go outside and play? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. They say I'm sorry quick.
And mean it. and
really
mean it.
Yeah.
And that I'm sorry is not necessarily indicative of, okay, I know I did X, Y, and Z wrong, but that I'm sorry is I value you enough to reconcile the situation.
You just brought me to another point. Remember this? I'm sure it happened in your childhood. You're playing, or you do something, or you win, or something, you showboating or whatnot, and they say, I don't want to be your friend no more. And then that person totally breaks down. I'm sorry. Why you don't want to be my friend no more? You do all that. But you say that nowadays, oh, well, whatever.
Because everybody got their pride first.
Exactly.
You know, we're leading with our pride now. And I see our Facebook family has, you know, joined us. I see Lisa Lemons on there,
Yeah,
Jane
what's up,
Strickland, and Nikki Berry. Thank you guys for joining us here and being a part of our tribe at the Lifted Lifestyle. We appreciate you. Make sure that you go subscribe to the Lifted Lifestyle podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and iHeartRadio.
Yeah, iHeartRadio,
Stitcher.
We're on YouTube, so you can view
wherever you
this
listen.
video. Wherever you listen, we're there.
Subscribe.
We're there, please.
And follow us on all social media and YouTube.
Yeah, and also don't forget to visit us at theliftedlifestyle.com as well. So
yeah, because you can subscribe directly from our website.
Yes, exactly. So check us out there as well.
Now, surveying your circle, Chaz, I think this is something that's hard for people, because you don't want to actually have to admit who the people that are around you are at their core.
That's true.
So it gets hard when you have to survey your circle and say, you know what? This person is maybe someone I'll call when I want to go out. But this might not be the person that I can confide in my darkest moments.
That's true.
Now, honestly, I believe that you should hold all your friends to the same standard. But, you know, you got to meet people where they are. None of us are perfect, you know. And the truth of it is some of us have different circles of friends. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay, too. But survey and acknowledge who those people are and what roles they play in your life.
No, you definitely have to. You have to understand something I said maybe when we first started the podcast, is that you yourself are the CEO of your own company, and the people that you hire in, you know, that comes to be your tribe, those are your best employees, your leadership roles. You have different levels and different roles to play. So you have some entry level position. That's my boy I go out with. You know, we do that.
I see what
now
you're doing
my
there.
VP holds me to the utmost standard. So as we travel through our journey in the corporate world, whatever business setting that you're in, you understand your life is similar, because you have bylaws, you have mission statement as a company,
standard operating procedures.
Exactly. So a custodian can be fired for not following those procedures, just as a VP can.
That's true.
So we have to realize that. We have to realize that our bylaws are for everyone. Now,
the
your
expectations
role
are okay.
Exactly.
I'm with
now,
you.
the role of your operation in my company is different. But,
and you're right, you know, and I like to take the, you know, I like to take the approach of looking at it like the disciples. You know, everybody has their 12, but there's only 3 that can go to the mountain.
yeah,
There's
that's
only
true.
a select few people that I'm going to call in when times get tough. and I need somebody to really be there for me, whether it's thinking through an idea, whether it be talking me off the ledge, whatever the ledge may be, there's going to always be your set core group of friends. But I think that in order for you to be honest about that, you have to look at people where they are.
Yes.
In order for you to be honest about that, you have to really say, well, this person hurt my feelings when.
Yes.
This person did not live up to what I think a good friend is when. And be willing to have those hard conversations. Be willing to talk about that stuff that really hurt your feelings. And that's where the breakdown happens.
No, that's true. And that's something I think that has to take place to filter your circle. Because if I cannot have this conversation with you, or you feel like you can't have it with me, are we fit for each other? Are you fit to be in my circle? Because now I can't hold you accountable, nor you can hold me. Or if it's one way. See, a friendship is both ways. It's no, okay, you're my friend today, or you're my friend conditionally. Because if something happens, oh, you're my boy. But if things get a little rough, or I feel some type of way, we're not cool anymore. So we can't have a conditional relationship and call each other friends. And the same way for anyone we consider in our circle, whether it's, our closest family, like it's that serious where if it's conditional, why are you here?
But Chaz, I've come to recognize and realize that, when it comes to love, it comes to giving, it comes to being present in a give and take relationship, whether it be a friendship, a romantic relationship, whatever. I think that the important thing to remember is there's some people that cannot love you because they don't love themselves.
Yes.
There are some people that cannot be good to you because they are not being good to themselves.
That's true.
There are some people that still need to do the work within themselves in order to be who you need them to be. And that's okay to recognize that, they're just not there yet.
Yeah, they're not there.
They're just not there yet. That does not mean that you have to be in close fellowship.
Yes.
With this person. You can love people from a distance.
Easily.
That's one thing that I had to learn the hard way, is when you are around people that are sapping at your emotional, intellectual energy and space. Sometimes you have to cut those people off for your own well-being.
No, I agree. I agree.
Sometimes you got to put some space between yourself and the people in your life in order to protect your own peace.
Because sometimes you have to reset your circuit.
Ooh,
yourself.
Or your circle. Reset your circle.
Yeah, reset your circle. So sometimes the easiest way, when I grew up and didn't know how to fix nothing, if it was broke, you unplug it and plug it back up, and if it worked again, it was all right. But you have to do that with yourself. Sometimes you have to unplug. And so sometimes the people that may be in your circle at a point where they shouldn't be, that are not ready to be in that position, sometimes you have to unplug. But you don't have to lose that resource.
Yes.
Because one day, like you said, they'll come back around, or they'll find out what they really are and who they are themselves, and they can be the best friend that they can possibly be to you at a later date.
And you know what? I think that that's important, because then you'll find out who's willing to do the work with you. Exactly. Who's willing to get past a rough point. I think that the best thing that you can have is a friend who will be your friend even when you've hit a little point where you're not quite communicating right, where there's some misunderstanding there, and one person can say, well, I see it this way, you see it that way, can we agree to disagree, or can we see if we can meet in the middle? Exactly. Is there any compromise to be reached? And to have someone who is committed to doing the work with you in your familial circles is as important as it is as someone who's willing to do the work with you in your romantic relationship.
Exactly. It's
in
true.
Every area of your life, if you're in a one-sided relationship, you might want to reevaluate what you are giving and what you're receiving from the people in your life.
Exactly.
But that comes from being honest about the people you're like. Because I know with me, I struggled at a point cutting people off because we have been connected for so long.
Yeah.
Because we have been connected in these deep levels, and it was hard to create that space, but that space was necessary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree 100%. But Facebook is necessary, and we appreciate
We gotta
everyone that's
put
been
space
tuned
between
in.
us and Facebook.
No, I appreciate that space because Facebook came about because of MySpace, so now we in their space, you know. So we appreciate Facebook for joining in, but it's coming to that time where we slowly wind down from our live version of ourselves, but.
But thank you for joining us, Facebook. Thank you, guys. I see Baron Murphy is with us, Raina Janelle, Jane Strickland, Vernon Blandson, Leslie, and Dim. Thank you, guys, and Jared for being here with us,
definitely.
for tuning in. Make sure you go and follow us on all social media channels.
Yes.
Visit the Lifted Lifestyle website. Chaz has made it very convenient for you to go and subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
www.theliftedlifestyle.com.
And if you want to get specific, put //podcast, take you right there. So
you know,
you can do it that way.
Go and follow us. But until next time, we love you. Don't forget to live lifted.
Yes, thank you all. Now, hopping back into it, something you just said with the surveying your circle, and one thing that came to mind, you can do a survey many ways. And in the intellectual sense or the easy sense, what's the survey? You go out and you write everything down and you get opinions, and sometimes it's your opinion, just taking a survey of everything. But being in Houston where it's construction going on every corner, I see what we call surveyors out in the streets. And what they do, they take their camera, they take their meters, and they stand back and they look at the land. They survey the land. They look if it's even, if it's unequal. So when they come in to do construction and do things of that nature, they know where to go and how to bring the engineering in, all that good stuff. I'm not in that field, so if I said something wrong, I'm sorry. But they basically survey the land basically to make it eligible to bring in whatever they want. So we have to do that ourselves when we survey our circle. So kind of like unplugging, backing up, taking a look at it and saying, okay, this is where we are. This is where we're uneven at.
Wow.
It's kind of
reciprocity.
Exactly.
Wow.
And you're looking at it from afar, and you're basically having an out of body experience by looking at the entire situation, including yourself.
And I'm very intentional about doing that. One of the ways that I do it is specifically, periodically, I'll send out a message to my tribe, and I'll say, what role do I play in your life?
Yes.
What role do you think you play in my life? And really letting them write out their responses, and I'll do the same for them. I think that in your life, I play X, Y, and Z role. In my life, you play X, Y, and Z role. And being very transparent about the role I see them in my life and how they're operating in my life. Sometimes that has shown me where I put people on a pedestal that they weren't seeing themselves on.
Exactly.
Other times it showed me that I was holding people to a higher standard and value than they saw themselves. But it really is a intentional way of surveying the people in your life. Of surveying true. What role you see people in and how they believe they are showing up in your life. And then it opens the dialogue.
Yeah, and I think one cool thing about that is that the magic to me happens when you're both wrong, where you think you see them like this, or you think they see you like this, and vice versa. And then you realize that I wasn't even trying to do that for you. And now you realize you have another strength inside your repertoire. I'm
giving more to this person than I even actively realized.
Exactly. And then now you know how to handle your communication with this person. You know what builds them up. So now that you are all on your growth journey, now you know how, well, I was just pouring A into you, and you really liked when I did B, and I felt like I wasn't doing B a lot, but let me do more B, because now I see you going to levels you never seen before, and then you may see something in me I don't see myself.
That's good.
So I think that's where the magic happens at.
That's
so
good.
It's no wrong way in that activity, whether if you agree or you disagree. Sometimes when you disagree, that's where the meat is.
And it's one of the things where if you approach it with the right intention, you can't lose.
You can't.
If you go into it with the intention of building the strongest tribe possible, you can't lose. Because, which brings us to the last point, is everybody can't come. So even when you are approached with a place or a person that does not serve you, you can walk away in peace because you've
Exactly.
been intentional about building and nurturing and developing your relationship with the people in your life. So when you've found a point or a person that cannot come because they aren't growing at the rate you're growing, they don't serve your best interest and your best self, you can walk away with clarity and peace of mind.
Yeah, you definitely can. You can, and this is one of the points that we stress with the lifted lifestyle, is that being selfish is not a bad thing in certain areas, and this is one of them. Because as your life, as your career, as your relationships take you to heights you never been before, like you said earlier, sometimes you're not ready to go there. So you can't come to this avenue. You're not ready to be there. Not saying you can't ever get there, but at this time and place, you can't come. And then too, on the back end of it, I'm looking at it as we grow and you don't grow, then you become more of a burden than an uplifter. And so when you do that, sometimes you can cut off the great things your life has for you because you're carrying a weight that you shouldn't have to carry.
And you know, in life, my philosophy is I take the same philosophy that they do on airplanes. On an airplane, they tell you in the event of turbulence, if the masks fall, put your mask on first and then assist the person next to you. I think that we should take that approach in every area of our life. Take care of yourself first. Protect your peace first. Foster
Yes.
your happiness first. And then give to the people that are around you. I get into it a lot with moms who take that the wrong way. But if you take care of yourself first, then you can be a better mother, because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, I agree.
You cannot give what is not there. And I really believe that selfishness, we've looked at it the wrong way in some terms. Like, now, don't get me wrong. There's some people who, you know, are self-seeking.
Yes.
Everything is about me. Everything is about I. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying making sure that your self-care practices are on point, making sure that you're surveying people with your intentions and your desires and your needs in mind first, being that you don't allow yourself to be the victim. You don't allow yourself to be in a situation where people are just taking from you. You don't allow yourself to be surrounded by people who don't practice reciprocity.
Yes.
People who are not giving to you the same way they're taking from you. You have to approach life with the oxygen mask theory. You have to take care of yourself, your interests, your intentions, your peace, your joy, and your happiness first, because it is your priority.
Yes.
No one else is going to take care of you the way that you're going to take care of you.
No, I agree, and nothing much to say after that, but that's 100% accurate, because yourself, you are one big, giant natural resource. And as you start letting those resources deplete by not taking care of them, so slowly your reserves lower. So now your reserves are getting lower and lower, and now we're in a drought. Now you're in a drought, and then when you look around, you're like, something is not going right. Then things start falling apart. But we're always told to look at external sources. But when we look internal, we'll find out we don't have our natural resources. Kind of like back in the day when we were watching one movie one weekend, one of the Austin Powers movies. I lost my mojo. But it's simple as that, because over time you're not even realizing what you're losing
Or
until it's
how
all
it
gone.
happened.
Exactly.
Because if you're not intentional about taking yourself, you're going to give and give and give and give. Most people who are good people, who are givers, they're going to give and give and give unintentionally.
Yes.
And before you know it, you're like, man, I'm exhausted. I don't have any energy.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm doing in life. And that's because you have essentially depleted everything. And as you would call it, your reserves, your backup
Your
energy.
backup. And now you allow yourself to get to a dark place, one that you don't have anything, but another part where you can create resentment. So now you're upset at the world, you're upset with people and loved ones, etc., and you become someone that you're not used to being, or you never were.
Yeah.
So we have to protect ourselves from becoming our worst self as well, while we're on the journey to make ourselves our best self.
And in protecting yourself, you know, the theory of that everybody can't come is a real one. You know, you have to be willing to let go of some people.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to let go of the people who don't support you, who don't cheer for you, who don't encourage you, who just take from you. And I know that letting go is easy to say, but it's not as easy to do.
Yeah,
it's
true.
not as easy to, especially when you start talking about your family members or friends that have been your friends for years and years and years. It's not easy just to close the door, but it's like everything else. It's a process, and that you have to be intentional about in every moment.
Definitely.
You know, saying no, I'm not gonna take that, or saying yes to the things that make you happy. You just have to be intentional about it.
Yeah, you definitely do.
You have to focus in on it, you know?
You definitely do. And that brings us to our call to action. Going back to what we said earlier is surveying that circle.
Yeah.
And when you survey that circle, you can ask those 2 questions, and that will let you know if who should be there and who should not.
So in the actual call to action, I'm going to have them put the image up, but I want you guys to really look into and ask people, what do you bring to my life? What do I bring to your life?
Exactly.
And being honest about it. You know, I think that the honesty is the biggest part of it. You know, you have to be willing to say, you know what? I don't know if you're necessarily everything that you think. I don't know if you're being present for me in the way that you believe you're being present for me.
Definitely.
You know, and being honest about that.
Exactly. You definitely have to be honest, because if you're not honest, you lead to what we just spoke about. You lead to yourself being depleted of your resource and becoming resentment in a place where you shouldn't be, and now you can't operate as your best self.
So that's your call to action for this week. Survey your circle. So what is our good news story for the week, Chaz Bailey?
All right, our good news story for the week takes us back in time. If you remember last year, it was an incident where a group of kids were around. 2 kids were about to start fighting, and they were about to go at it. Everybody was like, fight, fight, fight. This guy comes up out of nowhere and gives them a lecture, tells them, why are you fighting him? That's your brother. These people around you, they're not your real friends.
They're making fun of you.
They're making fun of you, things of that nature. So now this story of this week takes place where we look back and they were back in the news now. So a year after their fight, they're still learning from that same man that stepped in.
Wow. So he's still present.
Yes, he's still present. He's now their mentor.
Wow.
And they asked him to be. That was what I thought was amazing. They asked him to be. So after this event took place last year, they're now mentored by this guy, and they consider each other best friends and brothers, as they say.
And they went from fighting each other.
And then what they did outside of that, they took the lesson that he taught them, and now they go and mentor younger children.
Wow. So it's like a cycle.
It's a cycle.
Wow.
It's a cycle. So I thought that was amazing, and I thought that was a amazing good news story, because it lets you know who to put in your tribe, and everyone can't come, because if you remember that video, it was a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
Now there's only 2.
Yeah.
And the 2 that were going to fight. So that tells you sometimes your tribe doesn't have to be 9, 10. It may be 3. You know, so I think that's amazing.
And I think that's a whole nother show, but I think that it shows us the cycle of change. You know, how you're intentional about pouring into people, then they'll be intentional about pouring into people, and so forth and so on.
Exactly.
You know, wow, that's amazing. I'm glad to see that they're still happening. Well, thank you guys for joining us this week for the Find Your Tribe series. We'll be back next week for part 2 on how to find your tribe and how to maintain your tribe once you've found it. My name is Latasha Weatherspoon. I am your favorite host, so you know that already. You can follow me on all social media at Tasha Spoon, and don't forget to visit the Lifted Lifestyle website, www.theliftedlifestyle.com.
And I'm on Twitter at Chaz Bailey, and on Instagram at The Creative Opportunities. So please visit me there. I'll be happy to go back and forth and uplift and lift your life as our journey continues.
And if you don't already have a copy, go to Amazon or to theliftedlifestyle.com and get a copy of the book Find Your Tribe and Break Bread. They are on sale, and if you order it from our website, you can get an autographed copy shipped directly to you.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us once again.
Yes, thank you, and we'll see you soon. But until next time, don't forget to live lifted.